Hello, Sunshine. I'm Alexi Lalas, and welcome to the State of the Union podcast, where we look at the beautiful game on and off the field through the lens of red, white, and blue-colored glasses. Today's show is brought to you by Zillow. Agents, tours, loans, homes. Get home with Zillow. We are coming to you live Sunday, June 23rd, following our 10th day of the 2024 Euros and our 4th day of the 2024 Copa América as we make our way through this incredible and amazing summer of soccer. Reminder, we're coming to you live each and every day after the Euros action, after the Copa América action, giving you a wrap-up and a preview of what is to come. But first, joining me, as always, my friend, my colleague, my guiding light, David Mosse, a soccer savant and a Fox Soccer researcher and writer extraordinaire. Mosse, how are you doing on this Sunday, June 23rd in the year 2024?
I'm doing well. You couldn't wrangle a guest for tonight, huh? No Carly, no Clint.
It was a long day. I was up 5-ish this morning doing some Fox News promo stuff, and we went through, and I'll be honest with you, I forgot to wrangle anybody, but it's okay because we are here. You are here. We are, by the way, it should be noted, we are 3 weeks out from the Sunday that will feature the final of both Copa América and the Euros. That's going to be a hell of a Sunday. We can't wait for that. But we got a lot of games until then, as we mentioned. Should we light this candle, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right. First off, today's scores in this summer of soccer as it rolls along here. When it comes to the Euros, we are at Group A, the final group games of Group A and simultaneous play. Germany, Switzerland, Scotland, Hungary. That was Germany 1, Switzerland 1, Scotland 0, Hungary 1. And in Copa América, which we're just kicking off, as this was Group C, United States 2, Bolivia 0, Uruguay 3, and Panama 1. All right. Listen. Best moments of the day, Mosse. Victory Unlocked, brought to you by Zillow, Agents, Tours, Loans, Homes. Get home with Zillow. Let's start off with the U.S., because this was the first time we are seeing this U.S. team in this tournament. My one-word synopsis of it was sloppy. All right? Win, that's great. Get the 3 points, that's great. It probably, if you look at it, given the misses that either Balogun had and certainly the misses that Pepe had when he came on, you're probably looking at a 5-0 type of easy win for the U.S., and it should come as no surprise. It has to be said, this is one of the worst teams that I've seen in a long time that the U.S. faced in the form of Bolivia. So I got some things to say about it, but in general, let's just slow our roll a little bit relative to the competition. It's not Greg Berhalter or this team's fault. They play who's in front of them, but it's going to get much, much harder, and you can be shaded in a negative way if you just base it off of this game, given the inferior nature of the opposition.
I agree. Brazil have just 2 wins in World Cup qualifying in 6 games, and even we managed to beat Bolivia 5-1. So they are awful. So yeah, I wouldn't read too much into tonight. But there were some positives. It was great to see Tyler Adams out there for as long as he could last. And Christian Pulisic just has a look about him where I think he could have a terrific tournament.
He has matured, and he has grown up, obviously, in front of our eyes. He is no longer a little boy by any stretch of the imagination. He is no longer a teenager. But he is a man, and he has developed a grind. He has developed a relentless grind that usually is reserved for, I think, much more different types of player. But I love it. I love it because I think it is now fueling him, and you combine that with this incredible skill, and that is a hell of a combination. I'll be honest with you. I wish he could teach that grind to others. And if this generation is to live up to its full potential, there's some others out there that need to live up to that grind. Let me read down the list that I had that I jotted down at the end of this game, because I think it's a good synopsis here of the way that I thought about this game. Again, it's always with the caveat that Bolivia was crap. Okay. Set pieces. I don't know if you knew this, Mosse, but we have a new set piece coach when it comes to the U.S. men's national team. We fired the old guy, and we have a new one, and he's earned his money already.
Yeah, we apparently have him to thank for that first goal.
Well, I was being a little glib when I said, well, so the U.S. Soccer Federation is paying somebody to tell Christian Pulisic to take a short corner and to take the advantage of a 2v1 and then to hit it up in the upper 90.
The man's name is Johnny Vio.
Okay. Anyway, set pieces are better. I think Christian Pulisic is hitting them better, and obviously you right out of the chute, you score a goal on a set piece. That was wonderful. Ream and Richards in the back, I still think that they're suspect. I'm growing on, Scally is growing on me. But Ream and Richards, a couple of times today, they decided to either dribble out of the bat and lost it or decided to hit bad passes out of the back. And a better team would have made us pay. I thought Reyna was, for the most part, invisible. Now, that's either on him or that's on Greg Berhalter and where he is playing him, but it doesn't matter. I didn't see Reyna, and he certainly didn't have an impact on the game. Got fouled a couple times here and there. When a team gives you the opportunities that Bolivia gave the U.S., you got to be ruthless, and you got to take that. You got to snatch that and don't let it back. And this was a bookend type of a half in that first half, goal in the first couple of minutes and the goal in the last couple of minutes, and a lot of blah in between. But they should have put it away in the first 10 minutes of this game. I thought the speed that U.S. played with was rather slow, and certainly we're going to talk about the next game. It's going to have to get faster. I thought that Weston McKennie was laboring. I thought that Weston McKennie was sluggish, and not his usual self. And maybe it's a slow burn. Maybe he's, going to grow into this tournament, but that is concerning. Pulisic, I thought was great. Weah, I thought was great. Jedi, I thought was great. Balogun was not great, but he scored a goal, and that's all you really ask for somebody up there. So if he's going to do that, that's fine. And Pepe, look, if you want to take the position and you get on there, you should be licking your chops, and you got to finish one of those.
Yeah, the Scally one is interesting because I'm sure Greg Berhalter wants to have a solution at right back. He doesn't want to keep toggling back and forth between different players depending on the opponent. But Bolivia might have been a team where you could have put a Timmy Weah in that position. I guess he didn't want to do that. Obviously, you're not going to do that against Vinicius Jr. or Luis Diaz, but I think against Bolivia tonight, you could have done that. Instead, he put Scally out there. And, against a team where you're trying to break down bunker down defense, having a player like Scally at right back, obviously he doesn't bring you what a Serginho Dest could have.
Good, solid crowd out there in Dallas. When I say Dallas, I mean Arlington, Texas, out there. And, even in the crowd, there were, throwback types of people. Everybody's dressed up and they got flags and they got all this different stuff. I could be wrong, but I may have seen an image from back in the 1900s, an American image back in the 1900s. So if you watch the broadcast, you will have seen it. And it's pretty awesome. So there was a guy in the stands. You can see it if you're watching the pod here, dressed up. And he got plenty of airtime, as he should, because it's just pretty glorious if you look at him. So, and, he's sitting there clapping and cheering the team on to this win. Now, anything more on this U.S. game before we move on?
Well, let me just say, I was looking up some U.S.-Bolivia history in the lead-up to this game. Obviously, you had that friendly in 2016 in which 17-year-old Christian Pulisic scored his first international goal, but also a 1995 Copa America group stage game. You lost 1-0 on a goal by Marco Echeverri. What are your recollections of that one?
Well, I thought about Marco Echeverri because, not for nothing, but when I was doing the lineup for Bolivia, and it became very, very apparent, but that there is no Marco Echeverri when it comes to this this Bolivian team, or Jaime Moreno. So, we did lose, but it shows how you can go up and down in a tournament and winding type of situation and still be successful.
And I might have jumped the gun there. Is your one for the road going to be reminiscing about the 1995?
I'll talk a little bit about it, but you didn't jump the gun. Absolutely not. All right, listen, let's go to the Uruguay game because I think it relates to the U.S. You have been very high on Uruguay, all right? And I think for those that hadn't seen Uruguay play, it was a dose of reality of what is to come for the U.S. Keep in mind that for the U.S., this will be their third game in the group. This team is the real deal. I understand why they are doing so well. I understand why people are so bullish about this team. Now, their speed of play is a whole nother level. Their ruthlessness is a whole nother level. Their physicality is a whole nother level, especially that first half, because there was absolutely nothing that Panama could do. And Panama, it was men and boys.
They claimed a 3-1 win in Miami, which is where they hope to be again July 14th, contesting the final. I did think Panama had a good second half.
Yes.
which speaks to the fact that they are a better team than Bolivia. For all the talk about how the U.S. finally gets to get out of CONCACAF and play against real competition in CONMEBOL, the weakest team in this group is a CONMEBOL team. I think Panama, the second U.S. game, will be a tougher matchup than Bolivia was.
Well, there was no altitude to be found when it came to Bolivia, which is a huge advantage. But I know you want to wax poetic on this Uruguay team.
Yeah, I mean, I could watch Marcelo Bielsa jumping up and down the touchline all game. You're not a fan, huh?
Whatever.
You find his antics a little...
I don't know. I mean...
But yeah, Darwin Nunez got a nice goal today. He's in great form. I could see him having a very good tournament. Definitely a Golden Boot candidate. Araujo, what a strike for the first goal. And then Matias Vinha gets the third. I know him well. He plays for Flamengo now, played for Palmeiras before. There's a real Brasileiro flavor to this Uruguay squad with Arrascaeta and Nico de la Cruz and others. So, they were my pick to win the tournament, and I saw nothing today that would dissuade me. And, you start thinking about goal difference as far as the U.S. and Uruguay winning the group. So both at +2, the U.S. with Uruguay, with one more goal scored. So, and like I said, I think Panama is better than Bolivia. So Uruguay now has the easier next game where they could build up a goal difference advantage over the U.S. and then they would be able to play for a draw in that final group game.
But do you think that the familiarity that these teams have with each other relative to CONMEBOL or CONCACAF, don't you think that changes the equation? So, for example, I'm not saying that Uruguay doesn't look to Bolivia as lesser than them and that they shouldn't beat them. But I do think that the history that they have with these teams, I think that lends itself to being a closer game than on paper.
Plus, I actually don't think it's that big a deal, the U.S. finishing first or second, because I think Colombia is every bit as good, if not better, than Brazil. So, we make a big deal about the U.S. topping the group to avoid Brazil. But, I mean, based on what you saw, those two friendlies the U.S. played, do you think it would be that big a difference in the quarterfinals facing one of those teams versus the other?
I mean, either way, you're going to have to go through. And either way, you're going to have to play, the third game against Uruguay. And I know there'll be a little bit more tactical type of decisions made to go forward. So it's not a must-win type of game, but it is an elite team right now. And a little teaser, tomorrow I will be coming out with my power rankings of
combined Copa and Euro. And it's just going to be a top 10?
Just top 10.
I can't wait to see when you put the U.S. in there. Schmeichel's head just explode in Sturridge on TV.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, anyway, that was the Copa America. So, mission accomplished in terms of winning the game and going forward, but still plenty of questions when it comes to this team as to what they are and ultimately how good they are. And to your point, I think it's going to get harder against Panama and then even harder against Uruguay as they go forward in this group stage. All right, let's flip it to the Euros. Like you said, Germany, Switzerland, and Scotland, Hungary. Let's start with the Germans. They get a last-minute goal, and they get their point. They finish first in the group. It was not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and I actually was very impressed with Switzerland. And this was the first time that we have seen a German team in this tournament with their kind of their back against the wall, but facing some real competition and not necessarily always having the answers.
We've talked about Wout Weghorst being this great super sub for the Netherlands. Füllkrug is sort of emerging as that for Germany as well. It's a great weapon they have. They fell behind in the first half to a goal by Ndoye and trailed for most of the game. And then in stoppage time in the second half, Füllkrug, who had come on for Musiala, gets the goal. So I don't think he's ever going to make his way into that starting lineup, but he's always going to be a player that can throw on late in games who has a knack for scoring goals. So that's interesting to keep an eye on moving forward.
Has your assessment of Germany changed at all after this 90 minutes?
Yeah, frankly, I didn't love them against Hungary either. They've gotten progressively worse with each game. So I still like the team. I think they're a contender to win the whole thing, but maybe not the juggernaut they look like after that Scotland opener.
Not only am I going to do the mixed power rankings, but I'm also going to update both the Copa America top 10 power rankings and the Euro top 10 power rankings. And I got a sneaking suspicion that that Switzerland might jump a few spaces. So look for them tomorrow. Okay, the other game, Scotland 0, Hungary 1. I mean, this was a knockdown, drag-out type of fight on the field and a desperation from both of these teams.
First off, we had a very scary moment
Yep.
in the second half. Barnabas Varga collides with Angus Gunn. He was down on the ground for several minutes, stretchered off. They took him to the hospital. I'm seeing some reports that he's going to be okay in stable condition. That's good to see. So that meant we had lengthy stoppage time in this game. And 90 plus 10, Kevin Sobos scores for Hungary. So they leapfrog Scotland. They finished third in the group, and now they're going to be scoreboard watching the next few days to see if they can go through as one of those best third-place finishers. And we should have mentioned the result in the other game meant that Germany, who had already gone through, they topped the group. Switzerland go through as runners-up. Scotland finished dead last. They are out. They have never made it past the group stage of a Euros, and that drought continues.
I mean, never underestimate the ability for the Scots to Scotland, right? I mean, we talked about it, all the memes and the kilts and the beer and the singing and the bagpipes and all this kind of stuff. And the fact that they were even in play on that in the third game is a credit to them, but they just can't find it in the big moments. And so they go home. So it's just time to, I guess, not drink, but continue to drink going forward for the Scots. All right, should we take a look ahead at what's coming tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, what do you got?
Should we do Euros first?
Yeah, sure.
So we've got the conclusion of Group B, Croatia, Italy in Leipzig, Albania, Spain in Dusseldorf. Spain have already clinched first place in the group. It's the other three teams fighting to advance. Italy in the best position, but Croatia and Albania still alive. The Croatia-Italy game is on Fox. We're going to talk about Croatia. Could this be the end of the line for this golden generation? Luka Modric and company, if they go out tomorrow, is that it for them? And also Italy, what would it mean for the defending champions to crash out? So there's going to be some nerves in that game for both teams.
Oh, I like it. I like the intrigue there. What are you predicting then? Croatia-Italy. What is Croatia needs to win?
Most likely, yeah, it's very screwy, the scenarios with the third place team.
Okay.
So, but most likely they need to win. And I tell you what, I have a feeling Croatia is going to win that game.
Really?
Yeah.
And then just kind of scoreboard watch like the other third place teams.
Well, if they win that game and then Albania doesn't beat Spain, then Croatia are through. So then they wouldn't have to score. They'd finish second in the group.
Oh, geez. And then, okay. Oh.
And then Italy would be the one scoreboard watch.
Wow. Okay, well, that's going to be interesting to see that. I'm just still not buying Croatia, and it's because it's Croatia. Everybody feels all right. At some point, they're gonna come good. They're gonna come good. But if this is the end of the generation, then this is the kind of way you just flame out.
We'll see what kind of lineup Spain puts out tomorrow, but we are going to highlight Nico Williams after his incredible performance against Italy. He had 4 dribbles completed, 4 chances created in that game, most of any player on the field. And so, again, that larger conversation about Spain and having those 2 wingers and Yamal and Nico Williams and the different element that brings to the team.
What do we got in store for Copa?
And then Copa, we have the start of Group D. We have Colombia, Paraguay in Houston, and Brazil, Costa Rica at SoFi Stadium here in Los Angeles.
Down the road here. That's going to be fun. So we'll finally get to see this Brazilian team and what they are or what they aren't.
Well, first up, Colombia, who U.S. fans saw how good that team is. They are unbeaten in 23. Their longest unbeaten run ever was 27 in the early 90s, that great team. I always keep bringing it up, Valderrama, Rincon, Asprilla, et cetera. So they could potentially break that record over the course of this tournament if they keep that going. Luis Diaz was the breakout star of the last Copa America, joint top scorer alongside Messi. So excited to watch Colombia play. Paraguay can be frisky too. Almiron and Cizo, players like that. So that should be a fun game. And then, the nightcap.
How are you feeling about it, buddy?
I'm feeling okay about this game. They should be able to beat Costa Rica, but still feeling bad in general about their prospects for this tournament.
Never seen you like this. This is just horrible.
Neymar will be there, by the way. He's planning to attend Brazil's first 2 games
as ambassador.
Just hanging out, just chilling. We'll see what hairstyle Vinicius Jr. That's the real intrigue with Brazil. What hair will Vinicius unveil?
Well, these are the important things in life.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of important things in life, you, my friend, are very, very important. Please, you always help me with pop culture and a lot of sports stuff that I don't know. Jerry West, right?
Yes.
He passed away recently. All right. The logo, they called him, right? Because it was his figure from long ago that the NBA took the silhouette of the logo, right?
Correct.
Legend of the game on the court and off the court. And so we here at Fox, we think about, branding. We think about marketing. We also think about logos, and you see logos everywhere, all over the place. Um, but what kind of person could we pick in the mold of a Jerry West? Someone that represented everything that we are here at Fox. And immediately people started to think about, all sorts of men and women out there that would. And then we thought about you, Mosse. And we thought, this is a guy that works his ass off each and every day, oftentimes for very little praise, very little attention, but not that he needs it. He wants to make us all better. And if you have ever had the privilege and pleasure of hanging out with David Mosse, you will have seen him, burning the midnight oil, working his ass off, wherever it is, with his computer, in the strange way that he does. For those that are watching the show, you will see a picture here. This is in our green room here. It's almost like a lotus type of position here, a little Buddha-esque. He does this thing where he types with 2 fingers, all right? But it's at a rapid pace, and the volume at which he strikes the keys echoes throughout the hallowed halls here at Fox. And it is really something to behold when you come across this almost shrine-like type of thing. And, you are revered all over. Many to your face, but many also that just they don't dare even look at you because of your greatness. All of that is to say is that we have some very creative people here. And we think we have come upon the logo for Fox Sports going forward, all right? And so we want to unveil it today to the public here. So this is what, going forward, when people think of Fox Sports, they are going to think. And in a very short period of time, I think that this is going to be iconic. And I recognize there's a lot of people that are listening right now and you can't see what it is, but I shall describe it to you. It's a portrait of a man in thought. It's a portrait of a man contemplating his past, his present, and his future, hunched over, like I said, like a Buddha over this machine that at times is a conduit for things that a mere mortal can often not even comprehend. Obviously, his ubiquitous cap is on too. And I think that we have come up with something that for not just my lifetime, but for future generations, when they see it, immediately they are going to think not just of Fox Sports, but they are going to think of greatness. Thoughts, my friend?
Well, this yet again was Brad Weimer, who's also responsible for all those memes and put this together. He's one of our producers. If you're wondering why we missed second half kickoff the other day, it's because our producer was too busy working on this. But I like it. This is a rare Brad Weimer move that doesn't annoy me. I actually take great pride in that. So I do hope it circulates and becomes the Fox
Before I
Sports
get
logo.
to my one for the road, my friend, your typing technique, where did this come from? Is this passed down generational, or what's the deal here?
No, it just I don't know. I don't know how.
But
I
you
come up
don't
with it,
look at the keyboard,
I don't,
right?
No.
So, but it is fingers, right?
Yes.
Just okay. My goodness. All right, listen. Let's get to the one for the road and get you guys out here. Thank you so much for tuning in here and hanging out with us as we do what we do. Real quick story, because there's an article out over there at the at Athletic by Pablo Maurer about the 1995 Copa América. And obviously we're in the midst of Copa América here. And that was a 4th place finish. It was back in the 1900s. It was a long time ago. Yours truly and guys like Eric Winalda and John Harkes and Brad Friedel and Casey Keller and even current coach Greg Berhalter was a player down there. And it was a brigadoonish type of experience for us. And I do recommend that you go read it. And some of it's true. I don't know if it's all true, but it's a good story. And Pablo does a great job of telling it. And it doesn't seem that long ago. And as I've said before, Copa America is near and dear to me. I played in a couple of them, 93 and 1995. And 95 was a huge, huge success and a real almost pinnacle for that group that came out of 1994. It was back before you could see a lot of what was going on, but it ended up being really, really successful. And the time that we had there, I think, is really, really special. And I think Pablo does a really good job of documenting it and telling that crazy story that was the summer of 1995. So here's to the summer of 2024, not just being the same, but being better. And that's my final parting word to you, is that when we talk about this U.S. team, and we talked a lot about it on air today, it's not about doing what has been done in the past. It's about doing things that haven't been done. And it's not about oohing and awing when we beat teams like Brazil or Colombia or Uruguay or anything like that. It's getting to the point where this is the norm. It's not a surprise to do it. We still got a ways to go, but hopefully this summer we start by beating some of those teams. We'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yes, sir. Before we go.
One final note.
Yes.
At the end of last night's pod, you mentioned in passing that you were going to get a drink with Rob Stone.
Yes.
Now, they're too nice to say anything, but I can tell that Kyla and Aaron were very annoyed that they didn't get an invite. It's Saturday night. They didn't have to be in that early this morning. They were kind of up for a little partying last night, and you didn't bring them along.
This is your universal sign for partying? Okay.
The same as you can see in our new intro.
If you're just listening to this show, then thank your lucky stars.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I just saw over here, but it was not pretty. It was not pretty. I apologize. Can I be forgiven because I had no idea it was even Saturday night last night. I know I read stuff here, but it just goes in one ear out the other, and you lose track of the days when you're doing this.
Tonight is Sunday night.
Yes.
I know that because I just got an alert about a new episode of House of the Dragon. So whenever I get around to watching that, I will have you watched anything?
Oh, okay. Great. But you got to go write some shows tonight.
Correct.
All right. You got to go, once again, hover over your keyboard and be the logo.
Before we started taping, I went to see Rob Stone in his dressing room. I told him that I'm running a little behind. The script won't be ready until late. He said, that's fine. Take your time. So, yeah.
All right. Listen, we babbled on long enough here. Let's let these people go. But thanks to the people, by the way. We're still kind of stuck on 5 or 6 in the room. We're going to try to get to maybe double digits going forward. I mean, do you guys have any friends? Can you recruit anybody? I mean, we'll throw them like a granola bar and a Gatorade or something like that. Okay. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for reviewing and subscribing and doing all the different things that you do. Speaking of subscribing, keep smashing the subscribe button over there on the YouTubes and stuff like that. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Big doings tomorrow when it comes to Copa America and Euros. So come on back here and we'll review it and preview for what's coming up here on the State of the Union. Until then, and as always, my friends, size the day.